You are listening to The Objective Jerk, where objectiveness is the objective, and I am said jerk.
Conspiracies. Are you a conspiracy theorist? Do you follow any? I think everybody likes and or follows at least one, whether it's JFK, 9/11. I mean, and there's so many out there, but those are like the big ones, you know, the moon landing and all that kind of stuff. But there's so much out there, and it's kind of starting to drive me crazy. So I've always kind of been I've always been into, oh, you know what? I'm gonna hold on, wait a minute, let's see. Okay, so I always got to give like an update. I get a little ahead of myself. So I'm the this is the Objective Jerk, and I am said jerk. I'm trying to really say that every time, and I never do. So let's see. What's been going on with me? So I ended up getting rid of all the Adobe stuff that I was trying to use, you know, Audition and Premium Pro and everything. It was too much of a hassle. I kept going back to, why am I so far over? I need to move over. Trying to adjust because I kind of sit right here and I'm trying to be in the middle. Okay. So I kept going back to GarageBand to make whatever, and then I'd put it in the other program, and I'm like, I was like, I'll just use Garage. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'll end up having to buy another Mac and just continue on with, because it works great for what I need it for. So why, if it's not broken, don't fix it, right? But I am keeping Photoshop. So I have Photoshop, and that's it. But when I did it was like all the apps, like most of the apps or whatever, and I didn't read the policy or the rules carefully. So it was, a monthly payment, but it was for a year. It was kind of like a year contract basically. And if you cancel out of it, you have to pay a fee. So I went to cancel, and then all of a sudden it was like this huge, it was like $200, almost $300 fee. And I was just like, what the fuck? I was pissed. I was so angry. I was freaking out. But I got on with customer service and on their chat, and they were actually so helpful. Like I got on there, and they're like, okay, we can do this. We can get rid of this. We can do your, so they fixed everything for me. And then I started, because I have two accounts. One that I started when I was in the States, and then one, I stopped using that one, and I started one here, because it was just kind of confusing, billing and all this kind of crap. And I accidentally ordered the Photoshop plan that I have now, the photography plan, on that old account. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. So it's like, and then I had to chat with them again, and then they fixed it, and then I ordered it. But it was just like, the programs and the company itself, I guess, is kind of annoying. The subscriptions, I talked about it before, but I gotta say their customer service, at least with the chat, they were great. They were really helpful, and they were accommodating, because they would send you like these long, like pre-made, like you have to accept agreements and stuff, so they lay out the agreements. So it's like, okay, I can fix it, and then all of a sudden, blam, 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 you get these paragraphs of lawyer kind of stuff. This is what, and I'm just like reading it, and I'm like, oh man, I was like, can you dumb this down for me a little bit? And so basically, it's like, okay, we're gonna cancel this. You're gonna pay for this, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right, cool. I was like, that's what I need. I need to dumb down. And so yeah, so it's. I have to say their customer service was on point, and I gotta rate them maybe after this. But so yeah, so that's kind of what I've been doing. What else did I do? I was supposed to be a guest on a podcast today, this morning, but it got canceled, or he had to cancel it. The thing is like I was getting emails for like, oh hey, you're. So we had an original podcast scheduled, and then I changed it because I didn't put the right settings in the program that I'm using to meet up with these podcasters, and so it had me in U.S. Mountain, Pacific, Eastern Standard Time, whatever. So then my interview was going to be for like 2 a.m, and I'm like, oh man, I don't want to do that, because I set it up and I thought I selected the right place, but I didn't. So then when I saw that it was like 2 a.m. or something, I was like, what the crap? What's going on? And then I look at my settings and I'm like, oh, so I selected, or no, it was something else. And then it changed to 2 a.m. and I was like, oh crap. So yeah, that's what it was. I caught it somehow, some other way. I can't remember. And then when I told the guys like, hey, my thing, and I explained it to him. And I was like, if I can do it later, that would be great. And so he's like, yeah, we can do that. So we changed it. But then I was getting emails saying, hey, it's about to start. But it was kind of like, it was in spam, and it was like, hey, it's not, we don't know if this is legit. So I was like, man, what is this? And so there was just kind of like a little confusion with that. And then I sent him a message saying, hey, I'm getting these, this is for the old one, right? This ain't for what's going on. And he responded by email, which I missed that. So he's like, yeah, that's because of the cancel one. So it still kind of goes through, because it sent like hey, thanks for being on my show, all these automated emails and stuff like that. I'm just like, what is going on? So then I get one from him again, and it's kind of labeled the same way. And he's like, hey, I got to cancel. Sorry. And so I wasn't sure if that was legit, because I was thinking there was some sort of something going on. And so I got ready, and then, I was sitting there kind of waiting, and I was clicking on stuff and checking out Zoom, and nothing was working. And then I found the email where he was like, yeah, sorry. That was from the previous whatever, So I was like, oh, okay. So then this email about it being canceled is legit. So that's been my morning, I guess. Anyway, so I had an appointment with my VA therapist, which is on Zoom, not Zoom. I don't know what they use, but so that's pretty good, I guess. So that's the second one. It takes a while to kind of get used to talking to somebody and open up and everything. So, and plus it's I don't like doing it when I got my wife and my kids kind of around, because I'm in an open area now. I can't like kind of close the door and be like, okay, what if I could make this into a tiny office? I don't know. But anyway, excuse me. So yeah, so that was pretty good, I guess. But anyway, so, I've been kind of in the shit mood. It was funny, as I was talking to the therapist, and I'm trying to explain to her, because it goes in like cycles and stuff. I'm not going to get into it unless you want me to. If you want me to talk more about my PTSD and my whatever, then, I'll be more than happy. It's like, I'll talk about it, but I'm just not really comfortable with just offering it up, or I don't know. But anyway, so, I was telling her, I was like, when I'm in my shit mood, I'm like this and this and that. And then my shit mood lasts for this, and then my good mood. And then pretty soon that's what she was calling it. Because at first she was like, when you're in your depression mood and this and that. And then pretty soon she's like, so when you're in your shit mood and blah, blah, blah. And I kind of laughed at it. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry. I need to say. But she kept saying it. It was funny. But I don't know if she did that on purpose to try and like connect with me, or, she just, but anyway. So that was that. And then, so yeah, so I've been, I don't know, when I'm in my different moods, like different things, like when I'm in my crap moods, I don't really care about music. I don't want to play the drums. I don't really listen to music. I don't watch movies or TV. I just watch like some YouTube or Rumble stuff occasionally. And usually it's, I don't know, but so I really got into conspiracy and like shows or channels. And there is one guy, so if you're interested in conspiracies, he's on Rumble, but like not everything's on Rumble, so everything's on YouTube. You know, trying to not use YouTube as much, but he like he's been doing it for a year, I think, and he just kind of talks. I think he's like an architect or something, because it's all about the buildings, like the old style marble stone structures that are throughout the country. And he talks about like how is it like these buildings, and he just points out like a lot, like he'll just, each episode is like, okay, check out this building. I mean, there might be more than one, but you know, there's short videos, which I like. Sometimes I just like a quick video. I don't like to watch 3-hour videos necessarily, unless I'll listen to them like a podcast sometimes and doing something, but I don't like watching like super long videos. You know, I like the short ones. Maybe it's my attention span. But so he talks about like he'll pick a building in San Francisco, right? And he'll be like, hey, all right, check this out. So here's this building, and he just kind of shows pictures of it. Most of them are gone now. Some are still around, but basically what he's pointing out is like these buildings that were built in like 1890, these massive structures. So he's saying like, okay, so we did the gold rush and people migrated over to the West Coast, and their first thing to do is to build this massive like marble stone structure with these intricate carvings and just buildings that will last forever, you know? And it's kind of like, how did they do this with no tools, no cranes? All they had was like horses and carriage, or you know, the buggies. And when you look up the information, there's not much information on them, but the information that is there, all of the buildings were like designed by somebody that won like a contest. And you can't really find, like, it's like, what it looks like is basically okay, I'm just going to get to it because I'm not going to. So basically what he's saying is we've been here, or there's people have been here in the States or in North America for years, way before we were supposedly told we were here. And a lot of these structures are the structures from the original people that were here, and they survived. So when people started migrating and going to America, and they would find these structures and like, oh wow, and they would just kind of, you know, go inside and do the interior, you know, like maybe like redo the wood and everything inside, but you have the whole rest of the structure there. And then, but the thing is people, you know, you can't like, it ruins the whole narrative that we're all taught in school, like how America was founded and everything like that. So what he's saying is these buildings were already there, and then they got, you know, the people in power and money, you know, got the buildings, some of them, and then they made up like a stupid story, and then they're like, oh, there was a fire. All of them had some sort of fire, and they rebuilt it. And when they rebuilt it, they built it in like 2 years. These massive structures, like we couldn't build that in 2 years now with the technology and tools we have. And they're saying that these people with chisels and horses built these stone marble. Where'd they get all this stuff? They would need. It's like, it's insane. And then they're slowly tearing them all down. Like, so these structures that will last forever, and then also they get torn down 20 years later or 60 years later. It's like, why would you tear it down? Why? And he's saying it's because they're trying to get rid of all the evidence of the old world, because there was kind of like a reset that happened. I'm not going to get too much into it, but you know, it's all over the world too, these buildings, and like it's kind of crazy. Like if this is at all making you like, what, huh, whatever, or you've heard about this but you don't know much about it, check this channel out, My Lunch Break. It's green, and then it's got the My Lunch Break on there, and he just kind of talks about it. And it's like, he does kind of sound like a little extreme on the, like, some of the things he says, the remarks he says. It's like, wow, I mean, it's like he's really looking for the conspiracy, when there's a lot of stuff there that's like, whoa, okay, it makes you think, it makes you question, like, what it does make sense. But then some things it's like, okay, dude, I mean, you know, yeah, I think you're reaching a little bit, but because you do have that. You have people that see a conspiracy or see a lie in everything. I'm not that, but I'm kind of getting there, and I'm trying not to be, because it kind of makes me more depressed. Like, it just makes me, if these things which look completely possible and sound completely possible, it makes me like just sad that our whole American history is just one big lie. And it's really sad, you know what I mean? And you might be thinking, oh my gosh, because some conspiracies are a little out there. Dude, check his channel out and just watch a couple of his videos point some stuff out. And he makes a lot of sense. And it's, you got people that are like, oh, conspiracy theorists, they question so much. So it's like, yeah, okay, maybe we have a few people that question everything, but we have so many more people that don't question anything. It's like, yeah, there are people that look for the conspiracy and everything. I've met those people and I see it. But at the same time, you got the people that just think that everything is just a bogus conspiracy. It's like, dude, but it's like, you need to kind of question some things. You know what I mean? It's like, we need to have a little more. We need to have some more people questioning. They don't need to be freaks about it, but they need to get involved a little bit, man. It's just, there's not enough people asking the questions. And another thing, like on that channel, my lunch break, the thing that he points out is like the insane asylums, right? If you look at all the 1890, 1900, 1910 insane asylums, they're all these massive, huge Greco-Roman structures, marble, the same kind of buildings, right? Huge, just huge. And you're like, wow, like what? It's a little like, okay, if you think about it, if you really just sit there and look at these structures and really focus on them and think like, okay, we don't build nothing like that anymore. And they didn't have anything. How did they do that with the minimal equipment and everything, but these insane asylums, right, were built. And he's kind of pointing out, and what's funny is like this conspiracy kind of is part of a huge, which kind of connects. It's basically like a big, like, you have, I don't know, it's like you have, JFK, you have the moon landing, you have 9/11, the Titanic, maybe, the Hindenburg. All of them are just kind of, they're all connected to this, really, the old world and new world thing. And I didn't really know much about it. And then I was, watching this, and then I started watching and reading other stuff. And I just was getting like crazy about it. But anyway, kind of went off track there. So the insane asylums were for the people, obviously people that were crazy, but they also put the people in there that were fighting against this, them trying to be like, hey, no, this didn't happen. Because people were taught different back in the day. Things that they learned in school are a lot different than what we learn now. It's like they're trying to put, oh no, this is what happened. That's not what happened. And then people that were questioning, the conspiracy theorists that were questioning, whoa, hold on, this was like this. Where did this come from? Or how did this? Why are you doing this? Why are you saying this? They put those people in the insane asylums to control them and to keep them from spreading these ideas and the possible truths, because then all of a sudden they're gone. Why is there no more insane asylums? You know what I mean? And they destroy those buildings, these massive, beautiful, crazy buildings, and they get rid of them. And then the World's Fairs, that's another big one too. It all is just like, it's questionable. I'm not saying it's all BS and every little thing he says is weird, but just watch some of his videos. He's on Rumble, he's on YouTube, and just go from there. If you especially if you know what I'm talking about and you're already there, then don't worry about it. Or maybe check him out. I haven't looked into the guy like personally. It sounds like he's just some dude that's a conspiracy theorist that he started like on his lunch break, and he would just kind of, he'd obviously like do the research at home, and then on his lunch break he would just kind of talk about whatever that episode is, because they're short. But I get the feeling like he's an architect or something, and an engineer or something like that. And and it's he makes a lot of valid points, man, and it's just like, whoa, you know, it makes you really think, and it makes you kind of question. And then if it's any of it's true, then our whole history, our whole everything is just one big lie. It's just kind of crazy. It's kind of depressing. So I mean, if you're you don't want to be, I don't know, I'd say be careful, just because it gets it's really, if that's the truth, and it's like I kind of lean more towards it, like, you know, it kind of sounds, or okay, maybe it's not quite how he's saying it or whatever, but there is something, you know what I mean? And I don't want to say too much about it, because I'm not going to steal his thunder, and try and like, oh well, this is, you know, try and take his opinions and his ideas and whatever. But they're, so just check out the channel, My Lunch Break. And then there's another channel too, which is pretty popular, I think, called the Y Files. This guy, he tells a lot of like kind of more science driven and aliens and stuff like that, but in a little bit of history, but he does some conspiracy theories too, but he debunks a lot of them too. But he hasn't really talked much about this. I was hoping he'd have a video on that. I mean, he kind of talks about some stuff, I can't remember what it's called, where I think I talked about in another podcast, but where archaeologists found, you know, like an ancient structure that surpasses what archaeologists originally thought was the, you know, when man started making tools and stuff like that, you know what I mean? So it just kind of, the whole mainstream archaeology is just like, you know what I mean? It kind of puts it to, and so it's like, how do we not know? It's the same thing with America, you know. And he has an episode where he talks about a lot of things, that some conspiracy theories, and some of them he debunks, but he's also like, you know, the Smithsonian and all that, they kind of cover up a lot of stuff, or conveniently lose stuff that was found in the past to try and, like, they don't want to have anything that proves that we were not here before, or you know, or just what the narrative is like Native Americans that were here and then we came in and we, you know, which probably happened, but not the way it's taught. And there were other civilizations that, you know, that were there before, that were more advanced. Is basically what they're saying. It's crazy, man. So the one that got me to watch it was the one about the Hindenburg and the airships, and how they used to charge on the buildings. That's why they have the peaks and everything. And like the whole thing with the Hindenburg was a lie. They used that and they made it crash and burn so that people wouldn't want to use it, so that technology would, and then they could go to gas and everything else. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a huge, well, I guess maybe it is, but it's a long, winding rabbit hole. It all connects to a little bit of everything. It's insane. So if you like it, dude, check them out. My Lunch Break, the Y Files. Look up the airships episode, and it's like, whoa. It's just kind of crazy. But yeah, that's kind of it. Thanks for your time. I wonder if maybe I'll try and maybe put links to those channels so it makes it easier for you if I remember. I forget a lot of times, but I'll try. I'll give it a shot. But again, My Lunch Break and the Y Files, pretty good. There's some other ones out there too, and obviously podcasts. But it kind of, like, it's really interesting to me, but at the same time, it's really making me like just feel sick about mankind and our history and everything. You know, it's crazy. But anyway, thanks for listening. I appreciate your time, and I'll see you next time. Hey, do me a favor, and however you're either listening or watching this, please give it a like or subscribe or follow or whatever, and then, you know, do me another favor and give me a little comment. Let me know what you think, or, you know, just a thumbs up, I guess. Whatever, it all helps. I appreciate it, and have a good one.